All right, well, if you're seeing this video, that means that you are interested in that watch. So I'm gonna show you a few things about it and tell you a few things. First off, that you probably might need to get it sized if your wrist is not exactly like mine. That's why I've got extra links for you if you need to put a link in, or if you need to have a link taken out, you can do that as well. But I recommend that you have the watch so that it doesn't flop too much. Right now, this watch has a little flop, and I can put a finger in it on either side there. And I'm not hot and I'm not cold. When you get hot, your arm will swell up and the watch will fit tighter. And when you're cold, your wrist, you probably notice this with the ring, you get cold, you get a little thinner, and so the ring comes off easier, the wrist also will get smaller, and the watch will have more play. So but I do recommend that it's fairly secure on your wrist. A little bit of play is good, but expect that, like, if you're super hot, that it might get a little snug and not move very much. But one of the reasons why you'd want it to fit snugly is that if the watch moves too much, it's real loose, then that can accelerate the wear on the bracelet. So I would recommend that you get it sized properly. You could probably take it into Ben Bridge and have them size it for you. You might want to call them and see if they have somebody there that can do that. There's probably other places that you could go as well to get it sized. But this watch, it has on the clasp, it's got a few things going on. This is the clasp fully closed, and this here little clasp is a safety clasp that locks your clasp so it won't come open on accident. A lot of watches just have this standard clasp like this, but then if it gets snagged on something, it can come open. So they added this for safety. And then on the underside, you have this. It's actually like a wetsuit expander. So you'd put it over your wetsuit. That's what that's for. You'll probably never use that. I never used it, but it's there. And then the watch is a mechanical watch, so there's no battery. It's powered by a spring. If you look in the back, you can see a gold colored piece. That is the weight, the oscillating weight, and that moves while you're wearing it. And what that does is it winds the mainspring in the watch. The mainspring is your power source, and that is in lieu of like a battery. The battery would be the power source in a quartz watch. This being a mechanical watch, the mainspring is the power source, and so it drives a series of gears in circular motion to what's called an escape wheel that works with what's called a pallet fork, and that turns circular motion into back and forth motion in conjunction with the balance wheel. And if you look in here, you can see a wheel that's gold tone, and there's a really fine spring on it, and that wheel looks like it's vibrating, and it is, and that's the back and forth motion that is the end result from the mainspring through the gears, through the escape wheel. The pallet fork ends at that balance wheel, and that's the main timekeeping device of the watch. So this watch on a full wind will probably last about 1 to 2 days, somewhere in there, and it would need to be worn probably about 8 to 10 hours a day. in order for that manual or that automatic wait to keep the watch fully wound and for it to keep running. So then if you were to take it off and not wear it for the weekend, it will come to a stop and you'll have to reset it. And you can also manually wind the watch. If it stops and you go to reset it, I recommend winding it, and I'll show you how to do that real quick, hopefully real quick. Your crown on the watch is this knob right here, and it is a screw down crown. So this watch is what is it, 200 meter water resistant, and it's only water resistant if this crown is screwed down. If you set the watch and forget to screw that down, water can and probably will get in the watch if you take it around water, and then that can destroy it. But you have to unscrew it to wind it. So you just turn it towards you, and there's a little spring in there, and it springs free. You can push on it and feel that spring once it's free, and as soon as it's free, it's in the winding position. And you can wind the watch manually by turning it in a clockwise direction. Also, when you're looking at the watch, that's like you're turning it away from you, top side going down on the crown. So if you wind that crown, you can rock it back and forth, or you can turn it like turn it. I prefer just rock it back and forth. When you turn it the opposite direction of the tension, it just slips and does nothing. So it doesn't hurt it to rock it back and forth. It will not come to a complete stop because the mainspring is made to slip inside the mainspring barrel, which is the housing for the mainspring. So just if it stopped, I recommend just giving it 20 to 30 winds like this before you wear it up, before you put it on. So that's winding it. That's as soon as it's unscrewed, it's in the winding position. You have two more positions for setting, and you just pull that crown out, and on the first click, it's a very small click, that's for your date, and you can change the date. Let's see, I can get this here, I don't know. Anyway, you can change the date by rotating this, and it just changes in one direction, not like the band. It's much cooler than that band. So when you go to set this, what I recommend is that you set the date first. Well, first you wind it, then you set the date to whatever yesterday's date was. So yesterday was the 13th for me, so I'm going to put that on the 13th, and I'll tell you why in a second. Put it on the 13th, and then you pull the crown out one more time, which will put it into the setting time for the hands. And so I pulled it out, and now I can set the hands. And what I want to do is I want to rotate those hands until I see the date change at midnight, because the watch doesn't tell you where AM is and PM. So you need to find that so that when you're done setting, the date does not change at noon. You want it to change at midnight. So I'm going to rotate, and there I just passed 12 o'clock, and it flipped over to the 14th, so I know that was midnight last night. And now I am at 6 o'clock in the evening, so I'm going to rotate the hands all the way around past 12 again and go all the way to 6 o'clock. And then once I get to the point where my hands are set, then I just push the crown in. But because it's a screw down crown, I have to remember that I have to screw that crown down, and it won't screw down automatically when you turn it because it's spring loaded. So you have to push that down and then turn it clockwise away from you. If you ever feel resistance while you're doing that, then just back off, turn it the opposite direction, make sure you can feel that spring on there and try it again. It is possible to damage those threads. If you force it, it should be pretty smooth and easy to do. It might take some practice, but and you want to make sure that you screw it down tight so that it's nice and secure and water resistant. So yeah, that's about it for the function of the watch. And I mean, this is a nice watch. It's a Tissot T-Touch C-Star 200 meter water resistance, and it's got a sapphire crystal. That means it's highly scratch resistant. So it is possible to scratch it. I had scratched it at one point. I replaced the crystal. I actually replaced the crystal. I've serviced the movement. It's been a couple years, obviously, since I did that, but I think I did that the year I left. And then also, I think I put new crown and gaskets in the back. Also had to replace the bracelet. I have a spare bracelet here that I will send along with the watch. I think it's fully functioning bracelet, but so yeah, that's about it. Oh, last thing actually is the bezel here. This is a rotating bezel. It only rotates one direction, and that's counterclockwise. And they made them to rotate only counterclockwise because originally this was a diving feature. What you would do is you would turn this to where this arrow would line up on your minute hand, and divers would say, well, maybe they only have like 30 minutes of air, and so they line that up, and then they know, they just watch their minute hand travel, and when it reaches the 30 mark, they know their time's up with the air. And they had it only move one direction because if it were to get bumped, it's only going to cause them to lose time. It won't go clockwise, so they couldn't gain time while they're underwater and then think that they have more air than they really had. So that's the purpose of that. I never used it for that. I used it for like timing my lunch break or any kind of break that was really under an hour. So I'm leaving at 4 minutes after 6. I go ahead and I line that up on the minute hand, and then I know that when my minute hand comes down here to the 30, that my half an hour break is over, or comes to the 15, my 15-minute break is over. So that's the rotating bezel for you, and that's how I used it. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the watch. I got this a long time ago, and it was my daily wear watch for many years, and really enjoyed it and like it. It's a good watch. If you have any problems with it, let me know. And regrettably, I won't be able to service it in the future, but I can help you get that done if you ever need it serviced. It's not as accurate as a battery-powered quartz watch. They have an electric circuit and a quartz crystal, and so they can be very accurate. This is going to be very accurate, but it could lose or gain a little bit of time over time, and you may need to readjust it. So just be aware of that. It won't be as precise, but you know, I wore it all those years, and I still wear a mechanical watch, and every now and then I might need to adjust it just a little bit, a few minutes, because it's gained some time or lost some time. But if you don't wear it for a weekend, you'll have to reset it anyway. So anyway, I know this video is super long, so I'll end it, but I hope you enjoy the watch, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye.